Welcome to our table.
Thank you. I like your table.
Thank you.
I like this amazing.
I forgot my tripod.
Yeah, it works.
It's in the hotel. So tell us a little bit about your character and how it fits into Gotham and what you're looking forward to.
Harvey Bullock was in the comics. You know, he's an old school detective who's been around the block a lot. He's kind of a legend. I think he's probably well liked among the department because he'll defend the blue line. Like I wouldn't say he's unethical. I just say that he's the willow and not the oak. He knows he's pragmatic. Like sometimes you have to do, just like police work in general, sometimes you have to cut a scumbag a break to be a confidential informant to get to some bigger bad people. You know, so he's actually crossed that line a bit more. Like he's actually has relationships with people in the criminal underworld, but he's just trying to survive and get maybe to his pension. And a guy like Jim Gordon shows up and it's like, no, there's a right and there's a wrong and you have to, it's like, good luck. You know, this is Chinatown. But it kind of wakes something up inside of Harvey Bullock, I think, to make him maybe want to be the cop that he once was.
How tough is it to be a cop in Gotham City?
I would say, I would say it's not unlike being a cop in any major, like in Mumbai or London or New York. You know, I think it's a pretty dangerous profession, but maybe lucrative if you're dirty. So
yeah, but it's not especially dangerous because it seems to have an abnormal number of supervillains.
Absolutely. I mean, we live in a theatrical universe of danger around every corner. You know, I mean, it's an adjustment doing this a little bit to come from a world like, and they're all narrative fictional worlds, but there is something about Copper or Vikings or Law and Order or Sons of Anarchy that's at least, you know, it's tethered in actual kind of events, and so this one, the colors are kind of heightened. So so it was just a little bit different from my perspective too. When people ask, like, it's so violent compared to what, you know? Sorry, go ahead.
No, which Batman villain are you most excited to see showing up in this show and, like, you know, going after?
You know, the Joker, of course, and Two-Face, and we haven't kind of gotten into that yet. But to me, the key to this at first was always we have to start strong, and the critical piece of the puzzle was who was going to play Oswald Cobblepot. And it's Robin Lord Taylor, who I've known for a long time. I've known since he was very young, and he's so perfect. If he wasn't fantastic, I think maybe the whole show wouldn't work, you know, and we got the right man for the job. He's amazing. So I'm excited to see, you know, it seems like we're very Oswald Cobblepot heavy right now, which is a good thing for us.
Harvey in everything we've seen of Harvey and everything outside of Gotham, he's a bit harder, right? And, you know, just because he's been through it all, so we've seen him at a later stage. Is your Harvey a bit more, will we see more raw moments from him as, you know, what built him up to be that Harvey?
Yes. I don't know exactly what it is. I just try and stay flexible, but I just got word that we're going to do something that's going to give an insight into, I mean, it reminded me, I did a show here in San Diego called Terriers, and you know, like 8 episodes in, we got to do the flashback episode where I lost my job as a police officer that kind of sent me into the spiral of alcoholism, and while I've always been playing a certain beat and I kind of have a feeling about what happened, it's always exciting to get the real nuts and bolts facts from the writers to hang your hat on, and that's something that's coming up probably very shortly.
And what do you think we're going to see as far as a mix of original characters, like Fish Mooney versus classic characters?
You know, I honestly think so far Fish is just about it. I think there's just such a wealth of, you know, what's amazing about DC and Batman universe is 75 years old is that so many different generations of writers and artists have brought something to it and invented so that there's so many different even incarnations of the same character, but there's just such a wealth of people to pluck from. Everyone has a story, they're all interesting, so I think we have, outside of Fish, I can't really imagine the need for too much narrative invention to make the stories move along.
Were you a fan before the show? Because it sounds like you know a fair bit about it. Was that just from researching?
Absolutely. I try and be, you know, I think it's a literary form that is fantastic and deserves respect. And because I do my job, that for the last 20-something years, and I've done, some Marvel movies, and I did a movie called Comic Book Villains. Just over the course of all of these, I just made it a point to try and be on point about it.
Do you have a favorite Batman writer?
I don't. I can't say. I mean, Batman's a weird one because people are so protective towards. I don't know. People are so protective of Batman as they should be, and they all feel such intense ownership of it. But I don't want to offend anyone. I've learned a lot talking to Jeff Johns, though, who I think is so knowledgeable about. Obviously, first of all, what I like about him is, as an executive in charge of a business, he's an artist. So that makes a big difference. My favorite Batman writer now, or Gotham universe writer, would be Bruno Heller, probably. So,
what genre would you say this is?
Noir.
Noir. Okay, that's interesting.
I would say it's I'd say it's Black Dahlia.
Oh, okay.
So you're
LA
saying
Confidential.
it's like more like a mystery crime thing?
Yes.
So it's almost like a James Ellroy take.
Absolutely. That's my take. This would be like if in the middle of LA Confidential you threw that kind of heightened theatrical universe I'm talking about. That's the way I like to come at it. So
that's got me excited.
Yeah. So.
And of what you know of the show as it's going so far, is it at all in the same line to see these people, would they grow up to be the characters in The Dark Knight and all of the movies, or are they completely its own take on Gotham and these characters?
It's its own take, but I don't know what Robin's thing is. Robin knows that Burgess Meredith and Danny DeVito have an iconic endpoint that the creation. But to me, that was the most fascinating thing, is to go from someone like that they resent being labeled as a weirdo or a freak or a penguin, and then how they have to make that, how internally they have to go, that's what I am. And not only is that what I am, and it's okay that people call me names, I'll own that name and I'll make it something. And I think that's a fascinating, kind of period of personal development that I'm excited to, that's what we're covering.
Last question, please.
Even though Bullock pushes the boundaries, and we'll never see Batman, would he be someone who would be appreciated when Batman does eventually show up, or would he be resistant, just like Gordon being resistant to the
I absolutely think he would be supportive. I know that we're dealing with something right now where, technically speaking, it's an act of vigilantism that's against, we have laws, don't take, and it's like, hey, dude, you're doing me a favor.
Yeah.
You're saving us a trial. This guy's a waste of breath. So I would say that Bullock would be in favor of anybody who's cleaning up extra garbage,
Just very quickly, finally, you said also Cobblepot is the villain who you're kind of most excited about. Can you say why? What is it about?
I just think the writing and the performance, Robin's performance, I felt coming into the pilot that would be that's the X factor, is the level of gravitas an actor can bring to that part is the thing that's going to set the tone for the world either you're going to be kind of personally excited by, or it would be jokey and cartoony and just kind of slip away, so, and David, and it's interesting that these two actors in particular, even rehearsal, whatever it is, are the ones who, even in other actors, you're like, oh, that's why we're here, that our job is to make believe as hard as we can and to invest everything in that and take it seriously, and and I think it's refreshing to be around people like that, like pure artists in a way that say, oh, I don't have to worry about all the machinations of, well, there are other DC shows and there's this and the network has, it's like, I just have to play my part as best I can. I mean, it's fun, first of all, to think about the bigger ticket stuff, but also ultimately it hurts. What I really need to do is just take it scene by scene, especially with Ben, who's an amazing partner, and make these little, this whole world here is dedicated to, this is the weirdest thing, like Auguste Comte or someone wrote, a lion roars because it can, it doesn't necessarily have to. We beyond just mere survival now, we as humans have created this extraneous world that means a lot to us, which is how we spend our extra time when we don't have to work and provide, and people invest so much importance in it, and so it's our job to be of service to those people all walking out on the street who are like, no, dude, I care about this so much. I'm a grown man dressed up as this guy, right? And it's like they mean so. It's so important that you know. And I remember this one story about Ozzy Osbourne a million years ago, where I think there's a lot of metalhead kids or something, and Jack was like, "Oh man, can you believe they're out there all night?" And he's like, "Yeah, because they bought you your house." Do you know what I mean? And I don't mean to say that in just crude. They care, and so when someone cares a lot, you have to go, I respect that you care and that you're worried about protecting this, and we're gonna work. I don't know if we can be exactly what you want, but we're gonna work as hard with that in mind to give you, hopefully that you'll be proud of this new incarnation of the world we care so much about.
Thank you so much.